Yvette mentioned, I mean, mindset. And I think that's something worth reiterating is that moving traditional educators into OER thinking can be a really hard shift sometimes. Don't give up. Keep going back and re-educating and doing that. I'm actually I say that because I'm doing that with a group of my own coworkers right now. That that shift was a little hard, and it is. It's a difference in mindset. Some folks will catch on fairly quickly, but others it takes time to marinate. And so, thank you for mentioning the mindset piece of it. That was super helpful. One of the pieces that Go Open Michigan did, so I inherited Go Open Michigan and we had 10 or 11,000 resources in it. That was great. What a great start, I thought. But what we were finding is as we were starting to do some training is a lot of our resources we may have stolen from somebody else, probably maybe some people on the call today. But really I thought, can you really steal OER? But they weren't aligned to standards. And that was the first question I was getting from other folks, like, well, you've got resources, but are they aligned to standards? And I'm like, that's a great question. So we spent some time and made a summer project we called it Resource Alignment Tracking Group. And we made a whole group on the back end of our microsite just for resource alignment tracking. We tagged our Go Open strategy team that I meet with now about 3 or 4 times a year. And I made groups, actually it was a hub. So we made groups within the hub for each content area. And within those content areas, as folks signed up for the professional development opportunity, they got what we call in Michigan sketches or continuing education units, as most states have. And they also got paid. So between getting sketches to do the learning about OER, because we were developing them professionally by teaching them, and they had to go through like the OER course. And then we were aligning them to groups based on their professional content area that they were certified in. So we would assign them to a group based on their teaching assignments. And they would go through those resources, and we just keyword search, dump in a bunch of resources in those groups for them, and they would go through and align them to Michigan standards. Now, a lot of them found once they went to the resource, they were already aligned to Common Core standards, but the tag for the Michigan standard was a little different. So, but really it was the same. So they aligned everything. And in one summer, literally in 3 weeks work, we aligned almost 10,000 resources. We went from 10 to 90% standard aligned resources within our microsite. I never knew, couldn't have imagined it was going to have that much success. But the thing that we really liked was we worked with ISKME on the back end of that. And we were able, so a couple things changed. One, we were the pilot of being able to align to multiple standards. So once your teachers go to align something, a resource in a microsite, once they get down to that final piece of the standard, there's like a 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or an A or B. They could choose more than one standard. And it wasn't that way prior to that work. So we were tested. We love being guinea pigs. So we kind of showed that, yes, this can be done. It was super successful. And we just had a super great time proving that this was done, and we could do it within the microsite and then get reports. So that was the other bonus, that we could just print out reports and we could tell the teachers which resources they aligned, which standards they aligned to them if they really wanted to know. But it was so helpful in all of that work, and we would have never gotten it done without the cooperation of everyone. But Yvette, I'm a little jealous. You have another special project in your microsite that again, I'm jealous. It's phenomenal. So I hope you share. Let's hear about your project.
Okay, great. Thank you, Gina. But I'm taking from Gina, because like I told you, I beg, borrow, and thief. I'm taking from Gina that whole idea around the standards alignment. We do have some alignment done, because we did go through a review academy, a curriculum review academy led by ISKME. And so some of the standards are aligned both to the Common Core State standards in ELA, in the case of ELA and math, as well as to the Virgin Islands standards of achievement, because ISKME did that in the back end. So some of the resources that came up through that curriculum review academy are already aligned, but I need to get to that 90% that Gina is talking about. So that's how we support. But what Gina is asking me to share is our core. We call it our heart, where the core for us means where curriculum meets open educational resources. And the idea is to put forward that curriculum is the heartbeat of our department. And so that's what we want that to be picked up and run with. And so for our core, we develop a hub, a special hub. And within that hub, we created collections around the content areas. So for every content area we have at VIDE, there is a collection named accordingly. And within that collection, we have uploaded our standards, whether they are the national or the Virgin Islands standards of achievement that have already transitioned, or we've also allowed, or I should say, in addition, we've uploaded curriculum, and we've also uploaded resources that will support curriculum. So you have some resources such as Matter Balance and so forth that are in some of the content area collections. The idea here for us is to put as many resources as possible in this particular location, our core. I tell teachers when I do the presentations, in the past, we had that binder, that old plastic 3-ring binder that had the 3 rings in there, and the rings got rusty and the pages got kind of like parchment because we used it for so long. Well, this core hub is our electronic curriculum binder. Everything is located there, and it continues to grow. So those resources are located there, and they can go right there and find their curriculum. And it also encourages integration across content area, because whether it's math or science, social studies, ELA, health and physical education, every teacher has every other teacher's subject matter right there and available. And then they have the entire microsite of resources to support those standards and that curriculum. And so that's what we have built out. That's that special project that we've added. We are happy to share it with others. I've been doing the professional development on it. I do on-site professional development, as I indicated, or I do it virtually. I've worked with coordinators, administrators. I go school by school. I've shared with the Board of Education. If you listen, I will share it. All right.
And one thing I wanted to also I had my bullet point for curriculum support for incarcerated individuals. This was an oversight on the part of our strategy team. We knew that some of our intermediate school district folks were supporting teachers that were working with juveniles that were incarcerated and adults that were incarcerated. And it was actually a coworker that knew a little bit about Go Open Michigan, but approached me and had a question. And her mom, who was a retired teacher, was working with some incarcerated adults and was having a really hard time finding information about a very specific subject. And she told her mom to go look at in Go Open Michigan. And it was like a whole brand new book opened up for her mother. She said that was the greatest resource that folks had given her. And so we've also found that we've expanded into sharing our OER platform and making sure folks know about it in the adult education world. which also includes adult educators who are working with refugees coming into our state. That was another piece that had been overlooked. But if they're learning the language, sometimes getting easier resources for them to learn the language in has been super helpful. So we're finding things, I would say beyond K-12, but yet they're in that K-12 realm that aren't always thought of first. So I just wanted to make sure that we shared that piece as well.
That's great. Yes, thank you both for outlining the impressive way that your states have a top-down vision for OER and then the strategies to carry those out that really include reaching out to the community to be very comprehensive about who knows about OER and your microsites and can access them. So that's really great to hear.